Cornflake Girl, Tori Amos, who has a new record, her 13th studio album, celebrating 20 years of making music on record, called Gold Dust, out on October the 1st, and a big launch at the Royal Albert Hall on October the 3rd. And delighted that Tori joins us now, hot foot-ish from, did you say Brussels, Tori?
Yes, just ran to come speak to you, Stuart.
Oh, well, that's very sweet of you. What were you doing in Brussels?
Did a telly show last night, singing, playing live for the Brussels audience, and got up this morning to come to talk to you.
Lovely. Thank you for doing that. And we've just been talking a bit earlier on about, I'll just ask you this, we've been talking about dreams. Have you ever kind of used dreams in songs? Do tunes or plots ever come to you in a dream?
Well, messages have come through in a dream from different people, mostly from the other side. So a grandfather, I've had messages from my grandfather, who was part Native American, from the other side. That sort of inspired a song. It was called Big Wheel.
Yeah.
And it had a real kind of drumming rhythm that I was hearing. Something my grandfather would do when he would talk about the ancestors and ceremonies and that kind of thing.
Right. We should say that Gold Dust is, it says it, your second recording for the prestigious, as I think we always have to say, the prestigious Deutsche Grammophon label.
Yes.
Which is certainly prestigious. And it's looking back over past songs, but not really, you wouldn't call it a greatest hits, because although some of the songs that you've chosen to go back and rework with an orchestra are, things like Silent All These Years and Winter are some of your most well-known songs, but that's not the reason you've chosen them, is it? What's inspired the selection?
Well, we wanted to choose something that we could redesign for this Dutch orchestra, the Metropole Orkest. And there are 54, 56 pieces, and John Philip Chanel and I went in and really chose specifically what we thought would make a record that talked about different stories from the last 20 years, and that would really highlight the collaboration.
So is the idea that it's a kind of autobiographical record?
Well, I guess if I'm honest with you, Stuart, there are songs. Jackie's Strength was written before I get married. You know how some people say their life flashes before their eyes before they die?
Right.
And I'd say it flashes before your eyes before you get married.
Right.
So this song, Jackie's Strength, was from that, and Gold Dust was written about my daughter when she was in utero before she was born.
Okay. Then just so that people understand this came out of did the Metropole Orchestra just sort of get in touch with you?
They asked me to play one show. And as you know, if you're going to play one show with an orchestra, it doesn't matter if you play 1 or 20, you still have to go in and do the arrangements with the orchestrator and get a 2-hour program ready. But that was all they asked me to do. And in the rehearsals, it just so, because I've never played live with an orchestra, and all the records that you've heard, the strings come after. So they are put onto my master recording. So I've never played with them, which means there's never been kind of a conversation between me and the instruments. So this was the first time, and Deutsche Grammophon happened to be there at the rehearsals because I had just agreed to do Night of Hunters with them, which was to come later, see? And so they turned around and said, "This is how you celebrate 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's record this properly." So we chose more songs, many, many more, and then got together with them, a few months later and recorded it.
Is it a goose pimpling kind of moment when you sing for the first time with an orchestra? I imagine it is.
Well, yeah, it is, and also it's kind of it's a little scary because they don't stop for you. They're a creature. They're like this creature going at 220 miles an hour, and if you fall off the train, the train doesn't stop.
Right.
Do you see? You have to jump back on.
Right. Okay.
Even though I'm the guest artist. Yeah. It's one of those things where it can be intimidating. You've got to keep up with them because I'm playing with them as well, not just singing. So I in secret, I'm practicing all the time so I don't embarrass myself.
Okay. Let's hear something from Gold Dust. Let's hear flavor. What do we need to know anything about this? Anything to tell us?
Well, this is a makeover. She had drums with her and loops, and it was a chilled out kind of thing. But she wanted a complete makeover. So this is Flavor in a new dress.
That's Flavour from the new Tori Amos album Gold Dust. Daryl Fern and Kay English, both very much enjoying listening to Tori and hearing that track from her new record Gold Dust. Holly in Greenwich, Tori, says, I'd love you to ask Tori this if possible. You were, of course, at the Peabody Institute when you were a child, really, weren't you? And then you played clubs, solo on your piano. Then you've done things with string quartets, gospel choir, full orchestra now, the Light Princess, a musical. Have you still got secret yearnings? Is there a kind of stoner rock record waiting to get out or anything like that? Is there anything else you want to do?
Well, there are all kinds of things. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Light Princess taking stage, so fingers crossed on that. I think to have your first musical to take stage, that's so exciting for me, and working with a whole team, a creative team of people, and Nick Heitner over at the National.
Cool. What stage are you at with that, Tori?
Well, we're doing our read-through, sing-through of what we're hoping will be our rehearsal draft in October.
Okay.
So it's just around the corner, and we're all very excited. But fingers crossed that there'll be an announcement in 2013.
Oh, okay. This is the musical that you've been working on for a few years now.
For 5,000 years.
5,000 years?
Yes, Stuart, yeah.
Right, okay. Okay. And let's talk about the Albert Hall. You're going to play the Royal Albert Hall on October the 3rd. That's when Gold Dust is going to be that's going to be the official kind of launch of it. Is that?
Well, for England, we play in Holland 2 nights before, and we play in Brussels the night before the Albert Hall. So, the Dutch orchestra and I start rehearsals, in a few days, and then on the 3rd we play the Albert Hall, which is one of my favorite venues in the whole world.
What's it like to play that? I mean, it's an extraordinary building, and of course, it's got all these associations and resonances.
Well, it's magic.
Right.
It's magic playing it. And last time, when I played last year, it was one of those moments I had just played and then Dumbledore shows up.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I was thinking to myself, playing this venue is the most magical thing ever. And then in walks Dumbledore. And I thought, that's right, that's how it works.
This is Harry Potter.
Yeah, and he said, hello, enjoy the show. And I thought, well, that was fun.
You're right. And then was gone.
But then was gone. Like that.
What's the logistics of working with that? I mean, presumably you don't have to get involved in the logistics of having 50-odd people playing on stage with you, but it must make a massive difference to just turn it with a piano.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's very complex. I mean, it's moving a small army.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very involved. And the rehearsals and sound check, and that's why, honestly, you have to be so well rehearsed, Stuart, because you don't get much rehearsal time at sound check.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
So you have to, by then it's got to be in your muscles. It's muscle memory in your hands. Let's put it this way. If you're backstage and you're ready to walk on and you don't know it backwards to forwards, you're totally doomed.
That's kind of quite frightening, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, are you kidding? Yes. I'm not sleeping right now.
Really?
I'm practicing. Yeah, but that goes back to the Peabody Conservatory. They drum it in you. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, that's how you get to Carnegie Hall. Practice,
that's
practice,
right.
practice. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. And when this is, well, I'm going to ask you about a new record, maybe a kind of smaller record, but the Light Princess will take up time, will it, for next year?
Oh, yeah. It's a big score because it's not, it's not a catalog score. It's ground up. It's integrated book and score and songs.
Yeah.
And so that takes a lot to pull together. But hopefully there'll be a new record in 2014, I'd say. And not variations on classical themes, done that. So
it's funny, the kind of the 13-year-old you that sort of ran away from the academic world of classical music to become a rock chick would think it's odd now and that you've gone back. But
what she would probably like is that her own music. It's her own music, not variations on the dead great masters, but dead. And I was playing the dead guys back when I was 5 and loved them, but didn't want to commit my whole life to interpreting their work.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have your own work being reimagined and reorchestrated for Deutsche Grammophon, the 13-year-old would look at me and say, shut up.
That's right. The 13-year-old you would have thought having that yellow label was pretty cool, wouldn't she?
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to ask you for a show and tell in a moment, but we should just say again that we're talking about Gold Dust, which is released on October the 1st on Deutsche Grammophon, which is a selection of recordings from Tori's entire career, 20 years of making albums, reimagined and kind of made over. I like that phrase used, made over.
Yeah, it's a makeover, I'd say, with the Dutch it's a collaboration with the Dutch orchestra.
But made over in the sense that you can look at those songs and think, she'd look nice with a bob or some bangles.
That's right.
Is it exactly like that?
Or high heel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this the album's out on October the 1st. There is this performance at the Royal Albert Hall on October 3rd, where are you going to do the whole album?
Pretty much, yes. I'd say yes. Plus some other songs, some surprises that we've gotten ready.
I was going to say, you got some surprises as well, yeah?
Always try and have some surprises, see.
That's at the Royal Albert Hall on October 3rd. We asked you for a show and tell, and I think you've picked a tune by Joni Mitchell.
Yes,
Carey.
One of my favorite songwriters of all time. And I was 7 years old. I was going to be 8 that summer, but I was 7, 8 when this record came out. And it just reminded me, I had a crazy Uncle Woody who had survived World War II. He had 3 Purple Hearts.
Wow.
And he survived the Korean War. But it took his toll, it took its toll on him, and he was an alcoholic. But he would always take me to the Fiddlers Convention in Galax, Virginia.
Right.
And after he'd had a few beers, he would sit and he would dance while the fiddlers played their fiddles. And when I heard Carey, I just thought of my Uncle Woody dancing. And it just reminded me of a really good time.
Fantastic. Joni Mitchell, I was thinking the other day, is getting more and more kind of influential. You can hear Joni Mitchell in all kinds of modern female performers. I think it's like she's probably the most influential musician of her generation.
Yeah, she really was.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Well, prepare to be transported back to the Fiddlers Convention as we hear Karen. It's lovely to speak to you, Tori.
Thank you, Stuart.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Okay.